up, everyone? It's Jerry from the StogiReview.com. You can't see me, but I'm back here. We're at Drapers in Washington, D.C. I'm here with probably the hottest cigar manufacturer in the business right now, the rock star Pete Johnson from Tatuaje Cigars.
I don't know about a rock star. But,
how you doing, Pete?
Good, man. How you been?
Doing all right, man. So what brings you to D.C.?
Actually, a little bit of traveling around the country doing events for the Frank release parties, but truthfully, the guys from Curtis Draper here in DC are some of my best friends in the business, and one of the guys mentioned that they're having an occasional get-together, which they like to call drunk lunch.
Drunk lunch.
So I made a good excuse to come to have drunk lunch, but also have a little party for the Frank while I'm here.
Awesome, awesome. Now, this year's the Frank. What do you have? What's scheduled for next year?
The Drac.
The Drac. Is that as far as you got so far?
No, I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what years they're going to be placed.
Gotcha.
Truthfully, we have. I want to do it for 13 years. It's going to start getting tough. Knock on wood, the company lasts 13 years. But it's going to start getting tough towards the end because now you got to seriously dig for monsters.
Right. Yeah. Once you get past Dracula.
My whole goal originally was to have 13 cigars at a $13 price point. You know, always announced on the 13th of October and released for the week of Halloween. But there's certain monsters, and I'm not sure if people keep on throwing ideas to me, but I'm not sure if King Kong really is a monster. But the whole thing with King Kong, it would have to be a really big dark Salomon, and to do a really big dark Salomon at $13 might be kind of impossible because you're talking about a very small production, and the only people that are rolling Salomons for us are the Miami people. And that's probably where I'd have it made, but the question is, I don't know if I'll use it. But the Drac's going to be fun because every year the box is always going to be a coffin, but next year the coffin's actually going to be piano finished, very elegant looking, very something you'd see Dracula in. If I really want to go really serious with these boxes, I'm going to start lining them with silk, you know?
Little pillow silk.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I don't know. Thank God the business has been so good to me. It gives me opportunities to do fun stuff like this. Being a collector of things, I like to have things that other people can collect. So that's what it's all about.
Gotcha. Now, I told a few people that I was going to be interviewing today, and I got a couple of questions here from some of the Stogie Review viewers, and on Twitter. I'm a big social networking kind of guy. And one of the questions I got from his name's JB, and he pretty much wants to know, since most of your cigars, since all your cigars kind of have that Cuban-esque flavor to it, do you ever feel like you're pigeonholed into only making those type of cigars with that flavor profile? Do you ever plan on going outside of that?
Good question, JB. That's a tough one. You know what? I'm a traditionalist, so I'm a pretty unconventional guy mostly. But when it comes to cigars and wine and stuff like that, I'm really into tradition. And to me, the wheel for all cigars is the Cuban cigar. And I don't try to recreate the wheel, I try to copy it better than everybody else. And bottom line, I'm trying to copy Cuban cigars. I have no problem saying that. It's just one of those things I love. I grew up on old Cuban cigars, being fed by, you know, some of the great people in the business. Hold on one second, guys. I just got to shake someone's hand.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. I like that tradition, and for me to go outside the box, yeah, I could do it. It's just that I'm going to still want to have a certain flavor profile. I mean, truthfully, I'm not a fan of certain cigars that try to go towards a certain angle, and I've always been a fan of things that remind me of old world.
Awesome.
If that's enough of an answer.
JB threw a tough one at you there.
Yeah.
We'll kind of stick with JB. Clint wanted to know, Clint's in Canada, one of our international viewers.
In Canada?
In Canada.
Oh, very cool.
And he wants to know what your favorite Cuban cigar is.
I switched over times. I mean, truthfully, H. Upmann Sir Winston's, when they were like, I'm talking early 90s, were some of my most sought after cigar. I had to find them. I thought they were pure brilliance. The ring gauge was perfect. The length was perfect. But I smoke a lot of, nowadays I smoke a lot of Petit Coronas. I still do like Robustos, like Schwa Supremes or Specially Selected, Ramones. Still classic cigars for me. I don't know. That's a bad one for me.
You named my favorite, the Raz. It's one of my
yeah, I mean that's a tough question because the best Cuban cigar nowadays is the one that tastes good.
All right, so the next 3 questions are kind of questions that have been floating around, rumors, whether they're true or not. Let's see if we can get a firm answer. And one of the questions is the El Triumphador really the same blend as the Cabaguan Maduro, just in the Lanceros?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
When I was, I already knew what the Cabaguan Maduro tasted like because I released just the 2 sizes. And I knew that those components could go into a Lancero without a problem. You got to remember that to put really thick Ligero leaves in a Lancero format is virtually impossible. You start getting dowels for cigars. The blend is simply a toned down version of the regular Cabaguan, but Cabaguan Maduro, since we use the broadleaf wrapper, brings up that flavor and the spice level. So it represents Cabaguan perfectly. I'll never do a Cabaguan Lancero, but I needed to protect a trademark for Trium Fodor. Doc has it on his website right now where he shows the old artwork compared to the old bands to my art, the new artwork. It's an old Cuban brand. I've been lucky to find old things like this and register them. And to really protect the brand, you got to put it into commerce. And I was just happy to go, okay, I know what blend I want in this cigar because it's an elegant blend. It's only Seco and Velato. The only Viso you might see it on it is in the priming of the wrapper. It's just a lot of flavor without being strong. So, yeah, it's the same as the Cabaguan Maduro, but ring gauge has changed the flavor profile a ton. So,
do you have any plans to expand the line?
Trium Fodor? Yes, but not for a while. I have no idea what the concept behind the brand would be. If I had to make the brand into a full line, the Trium Fodor would be its sole. The Trium Fodor Lancero would be itself on its own. The other ones would actually look different. The profile would be different, but I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet.
All right, next rumor. Are you really working on a perfecto size Dos Capos, so barber pole style cigar called Tatuaje Blue?
No.
No. All right. Where do you stand on barber pole style
although I have to say that I think that might be the perfect cigar for the Hyde when I do the Monster series, the 2 wrappers, the Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, that would be kind of fun.
But no perfectos.
Well, perfectos, you know, I love perfectos. Salomons that I have in the line, the Diademas, but I had plans to do a Petite Salomon, but when some of the other brands in the factory started doing them, I decided to go a different route. I like perfectos. I don't know when I'll come out with one. It might be a long time, but no barber poles for me.
No barber poles for you.
Unless it's for the Hyde.
Now, there's rumors going around that you're coming out with a value price line of cigars.
Next year. I couldn't fit it into doing it this year because the production time and also the fermentation of the tobacco. I had to fight with, well, not fight with Pepin. I had to have a long talk with Pepin about how it's kind of necessary that we have something in the marketplace that more people can afford, especially right now with the economy. And you know, it won't have a Tatuaje name on it. It'll have a fleur-de-lis on the artwork. It's a It's called Ambos Mundos, which means both worlds. So what I'm doing is I'm having 2 Robustos and 2 Toros. The Robustos and the Toros will have, one will be a Habano wrapper and one will be a Sumatra wrapper. Same with the Toro. So both worlds. You're talking about 2 different wrappers, 2 different worlds. The first run of them will come in boxes of 50, but it'll be a finished bundle of 25 next to a finished bundle of 25. So you can actually take it out of the box and sell them individually to whatever one the person likes. But the refills will be in bundles. The funny thing is that when we were talking about it in the factory, it's kind of a, for lack of better words, a cute story. Pepin and Jaime and Mika, you know, we went through bales of C-grade tobacco and B-grade tobacco to find still clean tobacco that we needed to process a little longer, that was not the tobacco that we're using in the regular Tatuajes or the La Riquezas or the Don Pepin products. It's material that we have a decent amount of. You're going to have grades of tobacco, and Pepin's got a lot of leftover C-grade bales that he's not doing anything with, so we decided that we'd go through those bales and find some good tobacco and make a great value price cigar. The problem is we were talking about doing a direct cap, which a direct cap is a very simple cap. It's just a fold over flip cap, what they call a flag cap or a direct cap, and Pepin and Jaime and that family have trained their rollers so good in their factories that they only know how to make triple caps. So the funny part is they called me the other day. They said, Pete, the rollers can't go backwards. They don't know how to. It's too. Once you get used to making a certain cap, it's too hard to go back to something else. Even though the other cap's way easier, now a triple cap is their easiest.
They've been doing it so long. And
so it's probably going to end up having a triple cap on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think probably the first production you might even see a mixture, because they're realizing that they can't do a direct cap. And direct cap, I can do a direct cap. It's pretty simple. But a triple cap, I can't even attempt to do.
Gotcha. What was the timeline? Early 09, late 09?
Early 09. Actually, I'm hoping to have...
before IPCPR? After
no, I'm actually hoping to have something out in January.
In January, wow.
Yeah. Because we got to take the time to roll them and now dry them. The first few weeks, Pepin wanted to do his little process to the tobacco, kind of even it out, to make it a little bit smoother as far as the flavor goes. But I'm actually torn. I don't know which one I like better, the Sumatra or the Habano, because I've smoked both. I think Pepin likes the Habano version. I tend to lean towards that Sumatra because it had a lot of flavor, and people were looking at me going, Sumatra, man, you know, Sumatras sometimes can be considered kind of crappy, but it has a lot of flavor.
It does.
So, yes. So the answer is yes.
Gotcha. All right. Well, our next question is from Brad in Buffalo, who's kind of setting you up here, but he wants to know what do you smoke when you're not smoking your own stuff?
Wow. What do I smoke when I'm not smoking my own stuff? Anything people give me. I know, seriously. I smoke a lot of Cubans still, just to see what they're doing. And sometimes I get that magical one, and there's a lot of times where I get that kind of green and grassy
not there
one.
Yet?
Yeah. And not even there, the fact that it could have potential. I'm talking there, and you can tell it has no potential.
It's dead.
Well, no, it's just more of the fermentation process down there nowadays has been pretty crude, and you can taste one of their cigars, and some of them you can taste and go, wow, that's got aging potential. It's actually better to age the cigar than smoke it now, because you know it's going to be way better in a few years. Like the recent 94 rated Juan Lopez, that the Juan Lopez #2 that got Cigar Aficionado, I got one that they tasted to smoke, and I could look at it and go, this cigar is going to be phenomenal in a few years. But right now it's actually a little too big. But it didn't have that grassy quality to it. It actually, you could actually taste that the tobacco was processed correctly. The Monte Cristo Conde 109, the the one that was made for Mexico, where they El Mundo Dantes. I loved it. The two that I've had were phenomenal. The Petit El Mundo I can't stand. I think it was a miss. But then maybe I haven't had one that's properly done, because the ones I've had so far just taste weird. So Cuban's one. I enjoy Lido's stuff, but mostly his Lanceros. Every once in a while, I'll still smoke an Opus X, even though I feel that they've kind of changed over the years. I used to love them. I don't have an Opus X tattoo on my arm for nothing. I truly believed in that product. I enjoy getting a cigar from Jose Blanco from La Aurora every once in a while, because he's always got some trippy thing he's working on, and those are kind of good. I smoked Cruzado the other night from Dion. I was with him last week, or actually 2 days ago, and I smoked one, it was called the Elitas, which I think is like a Corona Larga 6x44. That was wonderful. But then he gave me, I forgot what the size is called, but it's a 4x46 or 4x46 that I was just like, I told him, Dion, I like the other one better. So I smoke his stuff every once in a while, just because we're buddies, and we always go back and forth with each other. So.
Gotcha. All right, this one comes from one of my followers on Twitter, and kind of has to do with the political side in Nicaragua with Ortega being elected last year. And he wants to know if is the business environment better or worse? Have you noticed any changes?
No, everything seems to be fine down there.
Any worries?
No, truthfully, Ortega, he's a leader that really wants to make sure his people are taken care of. We had bad times when Reagan was our president, and with Nicaragua and the Sandinistas, but it doesn't seem to be any uncertainty down there. But Pete, what he's doing, and he's positioned himself very wisely. Same with like Jonathan Drew and those guys. They take care of their employees. They build great facilities for them, clean working environments. They pay them very well. They offer them, a place to eat in the facility. But Pete's building a compound down there that, truthfully, an employee would never have to leave to do anything. They could just stay at work all the time and get fed and get medical. And that's truthfully what Ortega, I think, just in my opinion, I think that's what he wants. I think he wants his people to be taken care of.
As long as not taking advantage of them.
And not used as a slave labor thing. Because Nicaragua is a cheap place to make product, but Pepin's probably the highest paid manufacturer down there, the highest paying manufacturer down there. He treats his employees like gold, and they show, that factory is spectacular. I mean, the new facility, when it's done, is going to be a monster. It will be the biggest in Central America. So I'm happy for Pepin, because for him to go from Cuba and have nothing, and I've been to his hometown with him, to this, it's like, he's really living an American dream. So he deserves it too. He worries too much about everything.
He's got a lot riding on it.
Yes.
All right, so last couple of questions here. I have a good buddy, Carlos, in New Jersey. He wants to know if there's what do you do with cigars that don't make the cut, and for whatever reason don't meet your quality control standards? Because he wants to know if there's such a thing as a Tatuaje second.
Not really. Seconds, I smoke them. That's if I catch them. Most of the time, what Pepin does in the factory, he'll, if he sees something in the mix that's got a problematic wrapper or a big spot in it or whatever, they'll pull it out of grading, and then I'll send it back to the rolling table to get rewrapped. So Cubans don't waste a thing. They might end up having to waste a wrapper, but they'll rewrap it to make sure it goes back in the grade. There are such things as overruns. Recently we were moving facilities, and I had some extra cigars that weren't ready to be boxed, but they needed to move them out of that factory, because talking about moving a lot of inventory over to the new facility. So I had them bundled in secret bundles that you have to know what they are to realize that they're everybody's leftovers.
Gotcha. And the only reason why I bring up seconds, I showed you a picture of it earlier, and I'm sure you've seen it many times before, and I'll be sure to show it on the camera as well. But there's these brand exposed called the 20.
Yeah.
The bundles. You look at first glance, they look exactly like your Havana 6.
First glance for me, it kind of reminded me of a mixture between the Havana 6 and the Veracruz label. The worst part about it is that I know the guys. They're a group of independent sales reps up in New Hampshire, New England area. They're good guys. They've been doing this for a long time. I don't think it was intentional. The absolute worst part for me is that the band maker is actually the same band maker as the one I use on some of my stuff. So it was frustrating to see. It's a different font. I kind of let it go. I didn't really bother with it, but more lately than not, it's been brought up a lot of times. So I'm starting to feel the confusion factor. I didn't think there was going to be one, but I don't know. These guys are cool enough that I think they'd probably adjust it somehow.
Well, they say
but it has
imitation is the best form of flattery.
Yeah, but the brand 20 has nothing to do with me. It's just Dave Garofalo from Two Guys, very close with those sales reps, and they were bringing him a product that he could sell at a reasonable price, but it's nothing to do with Tatuaje. I believe the cigars are actually made by Gene Arganese down in Dominican. I haven't tried one. I'm sure they're okay. I don't know. But yeah, at first glance, every once in a while,
is that mine?
Well, no, I mean, you know, I think it's just the way that the T breaks the lines on the band. But it's a different T and the font's different, so.
Gotcha. So, I mean, earlier when I started the interview, which we'll close out here soon, but I pretty much said you're the hardest cigar maker right now, probably in the industry, and you got the coolest swag, the hottest cigars.
I'm a cigar designer. Pepin is the maker. Pepin, thank God that Tatuaje was Pepin's first baby, his first project here in the United States, and he treats me like one of his other sons, and he treats me like family, so he protects Tatuaje like it's his. And I've made a joke, well, not really a joke, but to expand the business, I've made comments to Pepin, how would you feel about me going elsewhere to make a Tatuaje, or even making another cigar? It doesn't have to be Tatuaje, just another brand of mine. And you could see it in his eyes, and he tells me it's like giving up his firstborn son for adoption. So you kind of get humbled by that and just say, you know what, I'm just lucky to be to own his baby.
Do you think that's the secret your secret to your success, being part of the Pepin family?
I think it's a big part of my success. If I didn't have someone that could translate my vision every day, I mean, I can say what I want. I can say exactly how I think it should be. But if I don't have that manufacturer that really knows how from day to day to day translate my vision, then it's all for nothing. Because I could have one great run made by someone, and then the next run could taste like crap. That's just me throwing a lie out to everybody. You can't have that. There's no inexperienced consumer anymore. They all know far too well what a good cigar is, and Pepin has, Pepin and I have learned together. I mean, I knew always what I wanted, but every time I might have a problem with one cigar, I've never sent anything back to him. I've always sent him an email saying there might be a concern with this or a concern with this, as more of a learning thing. So we've grown that way to where, some people think I'm crazy talking to a Cuban that way, but he understands that I'm doing it because I'm trying to benefit both of us. Because even though it's Tatuaje and it's my name and my brand and it's my vision, his name is all over it still. So if something's wrong and it gets back to him, he's got his own brands to protect too. So that's why I'm fortunate to work with someone like him, because he really over worries. So.
Gotcha. So once you leave DC, where are you off to? Where are you off to next?
You know, truthfully, I'm going to go home. I've been out on the road for 8 days, and I'm tired, and I'm running out of clothes. So, unless I start doing laundry at the hotel, which is, I don't know, never done that. It's probably not fun either. Some guys want me to go to Boston and have a Halloween party for them. Jose, the guy who kind of inspired the project for the Frank, or the Monster series, was a little disappointed I wasn't coming to Boston to celebrate it with him, but my travel schedule kind of got mixed up, and I have a hard time being out on the road this long. It gets very lonely in a hotel room.
I tell you, I'll agree.
And I don't know how Rocky did it. I mean, Rocky, whether you like his cigars or not, Rocky is a machine that deserves everything he's gotten, because he took the time to be out on the road for months at a time, to the point where he would have suitcases flown in, you know, shipped into him, so he could then send the dirty suitcase back to his office and have it cleaned and sent back and forth. He's a well-deserved man when it comes to this.
Awesome. Well, Pete, I appreciate your time.
No, thanks, man. I appreciate you doing
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for everything.
Good luck, man.
Oh, knock on wood.